Good morning, good morning, good morning. Dippy, 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 dippy. You know what? I'm usually on time for everything, usually early for everything. Today, I'm a minute behind. Okay? A minute. Now, I, okay. When you have children and grandchildren, things happen. Okay? Okay. How are you, Dippy? And anybody coming in? And if you're on any other platforms that I'm on, another YouTube channel or Facebook, hey, J Lord, how are you? You won't be able to see other people's comments because on the main page, hi, beautiful Dippy. My main page, Kit9168, that's where everybody will see comments. The other ones, so if you're being ignored, you're not really being ignored. How is everybody? Did I get that out? Okay, Dippy, talk to the people. I need to get me something to drink, my Mountain Dew. Be right back. Okay, that's cool, Dippy. You need to tell me when I'm on mute, remember? Hopefully everything worked out for me, the sound. I tested it last night with people when I went live. Uh-oh, what's going on here? All right. We're good to go, people. Good to go. Good to go. Got to share my screen. You got your earbuds in? Okay, cool. There we be. How is everybody? Okay, I'm going to read comments here. Waiting to see if she testifies. Oh, yes. I'm going to be on my phone. Got to run to the pharmacy. Hee. But it won't take me long. Okay. Oh, till next week? Okay. Okay. I read that. No, I'm on my laptop till I leave to go. Hey, I checked my DMs on Facebook, by the way. I left a comment, or I replied back. Last night was a late night for me. I was on my girl's channel, my sister. Let's go there right now. Hold on, I'll show you where I was at. Let's go mess with her. I'm going to mess with her right now. There we go.
And her
This is
books
my
are,
sister Jules.
she has
Go
this
sub up
book
to her.
that she sent me a copy, and it's one of my favorite escape vehicles. It's got just the right amount of naughty, and I mean it's perfect.
Hey, hey, girl, hey.
And Miss Liz hopes everyone on the defense wears red and black today, because she was saying that red and black triggers her.
There you go, typing away, typing away, typing away.
And
Good morning,
do I know
Tracy.
which suburban Perth? I'll have to ask, because like a lot of people. Oh, my sis is here. You streaming on your channel. And Kit, did you get the link so that you can pop in on breaks or anytime you want to? Oh, sweet.
Uh-oh, I didn't. Nope.
Let me check over here.
Okay, that's my girl. She's my bestie here on YouTube. Don't be jelly, Jules.
And we'll get this set up before they show up in there. I like the
we will
dark
talk to Jules
background.
later.
It doesn't fry my eyeballs as much.
I like to go mess with her. What kind of friend would I be if I didn't, Oh, I still hear her talking. What happened here? There we go. Okay, let me read here. She's gonna be in Colorado from Saturday to Wednesday? She's coming on a weekend? Is her husband's family testifying? Who knows at this point in time? Never know what to expect. They said that this trial, yeah. I mean, really, why did she make that plea? This is not going away. Okay, people, I'm having my Mountain Dew for the day, so hopefully you can keep up with me. Let's get some hearts in the chat for Gannon. I'll start it. I see that I'm behind on the chat, longer than 5 seconds, people. There we go. Did you see my new video, people? Letecia has her own beat. So let me show you real quick, just real quick. So here's Letecia and her own video. There she goes. She's morphing away.
You were not as tough as...
There we go. TV, did you see that last night? Substance to a mental institution would mean yearly eval. Yearly? I heard Andrea Yates is getting out. Yeah, next year. Dippy, this is what I want to know. When are you going to do a skit about Letecia?
Right.
Here we go.
We're having a delay this morning. I guess we'll just see what the physical condition of the defendant is. Did you get to talk with her at all this morning?
Briefly,
Like on the way down?
on the walk down.
Okay.
It appeared ill to me.
Okay.
There's the water here quickly and
Okay. I guess we'll see where we are. We'll give her some time. We'll see where we are, and this morning maybe touch and go, and probably need a high sign of some sort if she needs to leave quickly.
when Deputy Roberts goes back over something that's signal for her.
Yeah, we just need to figure something out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then court will be in recess for indefinitely, I suppose. Hopefully just only a few minutes, and then we'll see where we are.
I wonder what that's all about.
Is there anything else that we need to think of?
Just so the court knows, we're going to be playing lengthy clips this morning. I think one's an hour and 14 minutes, one's just under an hour, and then the rest are shorter clips. So I plan on playing those longer clips straight through and then asking questions afterwards. So Dr. Torres probably will come back here like we've been doing in the past. So if something happens during a clip, I don't know, just let me know and we'll hit pause or something.
That's what I'm trying to. Yeah, because it sounds like that first one would be, and play that first one, and then that would be about break time.
Yeah, I've got some introductory questions. We'll play the hour and 14 minutes, and you're probably right. We'll probably be close to a break.
Okay. I guess tell the jury that it's going to be a while, but a little bit.
No, I was going to go back. I want to go back and check on somebody else.
Right. We'll be in recess then, and then go from there.
Wow. I don't know what's going on. Torres? I'm not sure. Hold on, let me back up and re-listen. Hold on, people. Yep, it's Letecia. I just re-listened to what the judge said. He either said something about lockdown or on the walk down. Wow. Hey, Karen. Have you talked to My Amazing?
Okay.
Yep. What, Letecia? It doesn't surprise me at all. I've been waiting for this, unfortunately. Hey, do you remember though what the judge said? That she will be taken down by all means? Strapped down?
Red. These are red. Off.
They
Yeah,
can,
some
yeah,
of
they
them
can.
I don't know, they're off. Yeah. I can go from my house, what must notice if you don't throw out.
Shouldn't be.
They're red, they shouldn't. That's me,
The lectern is still on, but that has to be.
Yeah.
But they may see if they're hearing Mr. Young, that'd be accurate.
They heard me. I was talking to Will. But
They shouldn't
the
be.
only one on is the podium. There's something in them.
Yeah, no, that's not on.
Wow.
Ms. Gratiano, you say something into that microphone?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Yeah, no, they're not on. If you want, you can put them on the floor.
I just sent them a text to say.
Good morning,
You
Maji.
can still hear them when they're sitting there, because I heard both sides.
Yeah,
Put them on the floor.
I just got a message.
Okay, just put them on the floor. But unless it's,
It can't be.
unless,
See the mic from the podium.
No, it was, yeah. We haven't had the issue yet.
Yeah.
She's saying she's sick.
they should be off. Well, they are off.
Yeah, that microphone's on and the camera's on.
Okay. That should resolve that.
And so you guys, my live that I did last night for 3 hours, I want people to know I wasn't ignoring you. Oh,
5-8.
here we go.
People versus Letecia Stauch record should reflect the jury's not present in the courtroom. Couple of things before we start. I think the plan is that so the prosecution knows what the process is going to be. If Mr. Tellini asks to approach while the video is going, stop the video immediately. I'm going to excuse the jury. That's sort of a sign that Ms. Stauch is not feeling well and they need to be taken out of the room. So that's the process that we'll have. Don't wait until the last minute, okay? Because it's going to take a few minutes for all of that to happen. So, and I know that you may not have control over it. I get that. You're not feeling well. I understand that. But if it feels like you're going to throw up or something like that, you need to let your attorneys know when that feeling's coming up. Okay. Anything else?
I did just one other issue. I'm not asking for the court to make a decision. Just sorry to think about it. I did contact Ms. Strobel, Debbie Strobel yesterday. She did confirm she has documentation that she is out on March 20th over WebEx. Our intent would be to call her just to verify that she had a visit, but not to go into context of that visit and what is kind of. I do not believe that would be a waiver of attorney-client privilege or open the door to you. And I'm just putting so that the court can consider this, and obviously the court's decision on the degree of waiver that would be is going to make an impact on whether or not we call Ms. Strobel or not. She is currently up in the write-in office, public defender's office. She would be available for this notice as soon as possible.
Sure. Well, and I've been thinking about it, and here's what I can tell you, because this is it's a first as far as I know, because of the COVID impact and because of WebEx, because prior to 2020, there was no WebEx at the jail. And then once COVID started, there was some. I might be inclined to allow testimony only that a visit occurred, for the simple reason that if this had been in 2019 and the issue had been raised and Mr. Young had come forward with the visitor log, it would have showed a visit. And I don't know that that necessarily would have waived attorney-client privilege. However, if there is any testimony that they found Gannon's body in Florida, I think that that likely would, because it conveys two facts. Number one, Gannon's not alive. And number two, Gannon was found in Florida, which brings in all kinds of issues about, well, when was the last time that the defendant knew that he was alive? When was the last time, or where was Gannon the last time that the defendant saw him? So that may be an issue. It's not something I'm going to decide today. I know you'll want to have an opportunity to make a statement on it as well.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to make a brief record about that.
Sure.
This whole thing comes up based on the questions of Dr. Moore, in which the defendant was notified that Gannon's body was found in Florida. The gist of the statement that the defendant gave to Dr. Moore, whether she knew about Gannon's body being in Florida yet or not, is not really material. The material part of that statement is that she said she was never in Florida. That's the important part. The subsequent cross-examination from Mr. Cook says, hypothetically, what if her attorneys walked in, which led to that whole thing about a walk-in visit. The issue of a WebEx visit is really immaterial, and the relevance of the statement, again, is her denying having ever been in Florida where Gannon's body was found, and we've obviously heard testimony that she was in Florida, very close to the place that Gannon was found. So I think going into a position of potentially piercing attorney-client privilege opens up a huge problem potentially for this case. 35C issues potentially as well. And I think because of the issues that I just laid out, I think it would be not a good idea for us to allow that kind of testimony in this case, given the circumstances that we've got here. Obviously, you've got a decision to make as to whether you allow a late endorsement or not, but I did want to lay out that factual basis as to why it really works going down that path with as much danger and peril that it would pose to what we're doing here.
Well, and I'm glad that you raised the argument in that fashion, because some other factors that I was considering here were, number one, throw out the evidence that that potentially places the defendant in Florida at the time that this occurred. There's also evidence that she was in Florida on other occasions.
Exactly.
So to state I've never been to Florida. I mean, a jury could disbelieve this trip thing after Gannon's disappearance and still believe that she was in Florida some other time. The other issue is that when Mr. Cook was attempting to state certain facts, and I said, you can't do that. And he asked the hypothetical, if she had been there and if her attorneys had told her that Gannon's body was found in Florida, would it make a difference regarding your opinions in this case? And the witness said no. So I just have to weigh all that out.
And I understand what Mr. Allen was saying. I think our position would be more that if we were inferring that there could have been an attorney visit before, and then the way that the redirect and cross that the law showed that it wasn't there.
Right.
Well, it was.
Oh, I know that.
It was an attempt to make it look like we had been, dishonest with the jury regarding that. So it would be more of a correction of that as far as like, and I understand it may not be the most relevant thing of all, but because it appears now that we were, in that would just correct that happened.
Yeah.
And it would be solely for that. And then I agree, it's a little tangential. That would be what it should be.
Yeah, and do they have records of the time?
So we have that, Judge. So there was a WebEx visit. It was at, I think, 12:30ish in the afternoon on March 20th. For purposes of laying out that timeline, the media started reporting on it at about 12:15ish. I'm giving you rough estimates here. Seems difficult to believe that they were able to get that information that quickly, get a WebEx set up, and then do all those things, but it could happen. The point, though, is still that Mr. Cook, I don't think he was intentionally trying to mislead the witness, but he still used specific words, which was, "What if her attorneys walked in?" That's the effect.
No.
And the other thing that we did is verify that there was a WebEx visit by her attorney at 12:30. The other possibility would just be a stipulation to that, that her attorney did have a WebEx visitor at 12:30 on 3:20, and then there's nothing else other than that. And I think that would solve, the issue. But part of, the thing is that things are fluid.
Right.
And we're getting information in proceeding on it. And the time frame and how we're presenting the questions is also different. Generally, generally it would be a walk-in visit. So if you're given information that there was a visit, and then the question is phrased that way, because somehow I blocked disassociated that get WebEx back. But so I don't think it was Mr. Cook doing that. But like I said, I think the judicial stipulation could solve all of the problems and not present some of the issues that we have. But I'll let, I said, that's just something.
I think it's something that everybody can think about over the weekend. And obviously the other issue would be, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the witness's name. That was Dr. Moore. Dr. Moore, I don't know whether she has the date, but I don't know that she has the time. She must have, because it's been referenced in in a lot of other questions. So there must be a time as to when she had this conversation with Ms. Stauch. And again, it wasn't immediately obvious to me at that point in time whether or not that conversation would have occurred before the WebEx or not. But there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts. I think we can talk about it further on Monday. It's not a decision that has to be made now. It looks as though Ms. Stauch is feeling better. So I think probably our time would be better used by moving forward with what we have, as opposed to debating what we might do. And go from there.
Just to clear up your questions, though, about timing of everything, the WebEx visit on WebEx that day on March 20th was at 12:35. Dr. Moore's notes is dated March 20th at 6:27 p.m. So it would be after the visit from Ms. Strobel.
Thank you.
The one thing that I want to just have as a point of consideration is that if we then go into a stipulation or the statement to the jury about that there was a WebEx, there's no indication, and nobody's alleging this from defense, but we also don't want it to appear that we were misleading the jury, which we weren't.
Oh, I know that.
And if that sort of a stipulation comes in, that potentially could lead to a juror thinking that we were intentionally misleading the jury. And I know that's not Mr. Tling's intent, so we just need to think about those dynamics as well.
No, and I think that's fair. So we'll
maybe I'll talk this down, and maybe we can come up with something.
Yeah.
Something that can satisfy both of us. I think there was a WebEx visit, but the law that Mr. Young was looking at didn't reflect that. So, and we'll talk, and I think maybe we can come up with something to take us out towards.
Yeah, and I know that see 320, that would have been right on the precipice of all of the changes. So it was new for everybody.
It was.
So, okay. Let's go ahead and bring the jury in. It sounds like you're going to ask Dr. Torres some questions. Dr. Torres, if you would resume your seat in the witness stand, I remind you, ma'am, that you're still under oath. Does he have a trash can? Does he have a trash can? Okay. Okay. All rise for the jury, please. Thank you. May all be seated. Court will recall 20 CR 1358 People versus Letecia Stauch. Records should reflect the jury has returned to the courtroom. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the delay, but has anything occurred since we were last together that causes any of you to believe you could not continue to serve as a fair and impartial juror in this case? If so, please raise your hand. No response. All right, when we took our break, we were in the midst of the testimony of Dr. Torres. That's where we will resume. Mr. Young.
Thanks, Your Honor. Good morning, Dr. Torres.
Good morning.
We're going to show a longer clip here of the forensic interview with Ms. Stauch here shortly. But before we do that, I want to ask a couple questions about the forensic interview itself. And you as a forensic interviewer, a forensic psychologist, what are you trying to accomplish, especially when you ask an individual about the reason why they're there, the crime or the event that happened that put them in that situation?
At this part of the evaluation, what we're trying to do or what we're trying to get at is the defendant's story, their perception of everything that had happened to them, what they were thinking, what they were feeling, what actions they took. This is important to an evaluation of insanity because as an evaluator, we are trying to get at what symptoms of mental illness, if any, might be impacting those emotions, those behaviors, intentions, motivations, and the perception of reality at the time of the actual offense. So it's important for us to get from the defendant's own mouth their story.
And so is part of that role where you may ask them questions, much like a lawyer might do in a cross-examination? Wait a minute, you said this on such and such day, now you're saying this. What do you mean by that? Is that something you would do in a forensic interview?
That can come up, and it's going to depend upon what the inconsistencies might be. There can be inconsistencies that are maybe less relevant to the particular issue of sanity, in which case we might not ask questions about that. But if there are inconsistencies that are important to our understanding of what they're trying to communicate to us, then we will ask about it.
And in Colorado, would it be common practice to have an attorney present during this forensic examination and the attorney cross-examine the subject on inconsistencies and things like that?
That is not common practice.
And why is that?
I believe I may have mentioned it the other day, and we don't allow attorneys to be in the evaluation room, particularly because we have concerns that they might try to interfere, try to influence the defendant one way or the other. This would go for defense or prosecution. Since we're there as neutral evaluators for the court, we want to have our own opportunity to ask the defendant questions.
And during the course of a defendant, and we'll just talk about Ms. Stauch for now, as Ms. Stauch's telling you the circumstances surrounding the event, and then the actual event, according to her itself, are you or Dr. Gray suggesting potential mental illnesses that may have occurred during that event?
No.
Why?
Again, we're not trying to feed the defendant or Ms. Stauch any particular information that she could then give back to us as it pertains to issues of mental illnesses, diagnoses, symptoms that might be present. We want to get her version as purely as she's able to give it to us.
And would that be standard practice for forensic psychologists, forensic psychiatrists? Right. In Colorado, not to do that, not to suggest diagnoses to the subject as you're interviewing?
Correct.
And so with that, Dr. Torres, we're going to play this video clip. It's about an hour and 14 minutes long. You're more than welcome to sit back here during it if you like. But Your Honor, at this time, we would be publishing People's Exhibit 725 in its entirety. Yeah, we're going to play it from over here.
Speaker.
All right, so this may be the most difficult part. To talk to us about what happened on the day of the event. Maybe things leading up to it.
Where do you want me to start out?
Well, where do you think it begins?
Well, I already told you guys before that I was going to leave, right? And I was just waiting to get everything in order. And get back somewhere else where I could be, mentally okay and not have to deal with like these people that wanted to find out about this car accident. So I had to escape from them. So I started planning to get a place to stay. And I was going to work as a flight attendant, get all that information like I told you guys to landed back. Then stopped working at my job. I thought I was in the job, but I wasn't because it was in Colorado. So no matter where I went in Colorado, the mafia, I got people looking into it, investigator to find out where he's from, but I had to get away from him. So I got this job and I was ready to go work as a flight attendant. It was back in January, I think it was around like the 9th or 10th, I think it was, when I picked them back up from the airport. That was that, like, the transition period, getting everybody back in the mode, the routine and all that. Then we went on the cruise. We went on a cruise of January 15th. Me and Albert and the kids stayed at home by themselves with Harvey and the babysitter. And it was weird because, well, I get to the port for Lauderdale, but they had lost my bag. So I was like freaking out, thinking that one of these people had took my bag because I changed the whole route of where I was going. So instead of going on that one cruise, we hopped on another cruise because I didn't know if like they had got my itinerary or where I was going. And the kids were at home, you know what I mean? So I changed my whole itinerary to go to Palm Beach. Really went to Fort Lauderdale. And I kept telling Albert, I was like, I thought I saw that guy. He's like, I know they're following us. And he was just like, no one's going to go to that stream over. Right. So we ended up going on the cruise. I changed the whole route and everything. And we come back from the cruise. Well, the moment I get back from the cruise, Ian approaches me and he says, he was like, your friends came by in that black car looking for you. So I started freaking out because I know it was the same black car they came to Red Elevator in and search and find me. So I told him, I said, look, can you explain what the car looked like? I wanted to see if it has a black car too. Well, it could be every car. So he explained the car, and it definitely wasn't Ed's car, but Edgar had the beamer. I just started getting my paranoia was getting pretty big. So I wouldn't go to the mailbox. I wouldn't go wherever. I was going to work, and I was putting, like I said, the visors up in my car because I thought that they could see me. I'd go take breaks at work and freaking out because I just started this job at District 20, and I didn't want it to think, like I was just losing my mind or something. So I'd go to my car and try to like figure out what to do. So fast forward, those were like 2 or 3 days. It was Lena's birthday, January 22nd. So, we're celebrating her birthday. Well, I rode all the way to get Albert's mom because I was scared to stay at home by myself. Like, I didn't know if they were going to come to our house or not. Prior to that, like, I got in trouble with the Colorado Sheriff's Office because I made a call to 911 and told them I thought somebody was in the backyard. Well, they send people out and they find out that there was nobody in the back. They say there's nobody. They look at my alarm status and they're like, you could get in trouble for making false reports to police, right? This is like that time frame. And so I wrote to the airport to get Albert's mom on Lena's birthday, and I basically wouldn't like leave out of, you know what I mean, like people I could be around that I knew could help protect me, whatever. Fast forward on a couple of days, I was trying to go to work. It would be all over the place, And so, January 26th, that was the day that Kobe Bryant had died in a helicopter crash. And we were going to go to church that day. Well, there was this guy who was saying he was Michael the Archangel. That's why we didn't go to church on January 26th. It was a Sunday. I was all where my faith is to Jesus. We had a business card that said Michael the Archangel. So I'm like thinking, maybe my attorneys this, and they got him back and forth. Like, why do you think this man was doing this? He was trying to keep us from going to the church, Turn the car around. And so we're just gonna go on a hike because, Kobe Bryant guy. I love Kobe Bryant. We're just going to hike. So we're on a hike on January 26th. And I'm like talking to the kids about everything. And Warner was wanting. He knew I was packing boxes. Because he knew about the black and chocolate. Mine was always me. And geez, you don't have to wait till Wednesday because I'm talking to their moms and make sure the flight is going to go. When we were high, as we were talking about this, like the thing that happened earlier with the whole Michael the Archangel, that's when something started telling me that we have to be a white man to jump. Because if it be a black family, it would never make TV. Which, you guys know, that would be definitely true because there's a lot of racism still in this country, So, throughout the day, like this kept happening with the whole Michael the Archangel guy, And I'm like, why is this? I didn't know if the people were getting him to come as Michael the Archangel, to get him to come there. They had anything aside from the accident that was a leg accident or what. So Bonnie told the kids and said, look, let's just go on home. You know what I mean? Like the day's been too much of a hard day. Let's just go. Hannah was complaining with his stomach because he had like food all over. Yeah, like I told you, his dad's on his phone. Well, we get ready to go home. I hadn't got him dinner yet. We and fast go, get their bath or whatever. Me and Lena go get food, get do whatever. Probably was at work. So we come back, feed them, do everything, like my mind is still sitting there about this whole. I feel like people thought trying to tell me something. go Archie. You know, so my mom was stuck on that. So I was like, let's call it an early night, guys. Let's just, you know, I just have to stay with the whole helicopter. It was just like not a good day that normally we have on time. So then we leave. So yeah, we go get happy, let's come back. Call it a night. And I'm in the bed, just like relaxing or whatever. And I hear the alarm of fire, 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 fire. So I was immediately freaking out. The next 30 minutes of that, 30 minutes-ish, was a glare. You know, like a glare. So like, where I went, like I went into protection. And I got the dog, Lena, and took her outside because they were the first people I saw upstairs, you know what I mean? So I was thinking get the safe people out first, you know. But I was back and get ready to run down the stairs to go back to get G, and I had socks on. So I slipped down the whole stairway or whatever. That's how my blood gets on the baseboard. I bust my head against the baseboard because I was running so fast down the stairs. It was down to where I see smoke at this point. As soon as I see the smoke, I go into panic mode. Like, I was like, had a flashback for, you know, like all the fires I've experienced. Went back out the front door again, and then realized Shannon's downstairs. Went back downstairs. Went back down the stairs again. Shannon's on the sofa, and the fire is around the sofa. So I reach over to grab him, and when I knew he was like wrapped in the covers, so I grabbed the covers, I pulled the covers, and when we both were on the fire, last part of that was just being down on the fire. I didn't remember anything to do until we were in the truck, but all of us were safe in the truck. So like, I don't remember running out at that point in time. I know that I did because the alarm doorbell camera showed that we run out the house. But I don't know if I did. Like, it was just so traumatic. I don't know what happened from the time we went down in the fire to going out to the car, except my doorbell, you know, the camera system. So they have camera footage. Go out, we get in the car, and I just pull off. Because again, you know me, I'm a runner. I was it to just run away. He's hysterical, Lane's hysterical. I'm trying to figure out what is going on. Is the house burnt down? Do you have a house to live in? You have to remember, for me, a fire is this fire. And it's coming back to this house, which is going to this fire. But the gas tank was on empty, but someone kept telling me, just keep driving. Your car's just going to go on empty anyway. Just keep going. Don't worry. Your car's just going to shoot. Don't worry. Somehow, in between that time, I end back up to the house. Again, that was a gap that I don't remember. But I text Harley according to the messages and says, it's okay. There's a fire. Everybody's okay. And I send her a picture of the fire. Harley's freaking out, like, okay, I'm on the way home. Is Gannon okay? I said, and I wrote her back on the message, and I said, he has some burns in the fire, but everybody's okay. So Harley comes in, the house is like, smelling like smoke or whatever. We're opening windows or whatever. Harley basically took charge on that one. She started opening windows. Mom, it's okay, calm down. So I was all hysterical all over the place. They all wanted to, like, everybody just be together, you know, because to me, all I could keep thinking about was if I couldn't have got to Gannon, he'd have, like, burned up on the fire, you know what I mean? So I was just all over the place. Well, we all decided to lay on the sofa together. That was on January 26th. So we're all just laying on the sofa together, just trying to like figure out the plan. Like I said, it's okay. I said, I'll have one of my friends. He goes by the name Guam. I'm not going to get his real name. I was like, I'll have one of my friends Guam get somebody to come over and fix it. I would get a big deal or whatever. And that's where this whole like video goes on. And about the fire, why did he set it, whatever. Remember I told you earlier, I record everything. I wanted to have that too, So he's telling me that he set the fire, but he didn't mean to set it. We're like, all of this, so we're just trying to come up with a plan to fix it. Now, you look at the video, people took it out of context. When I say we can sell the sofa, I don't mean you can look at our house. We have plenty. You gotta think of the country flame top, meaning we can get a new sofa. And so that got taken out of complete context of what we were saying. So I think I meant to say I was all miracle. Well, we all were just on the sofa. I was like, I'm gonna get someone to come fix it or whatever. They brought the number to the garage. I said, hey, I'm going to go to work tomorrow, just to be on the school. If you could get someone to fix it, just replace the carpet, whatever, I'll pay you whatever. I have memory, I went in up until then, right? But where the gaps came in was what happened during that time frame. So I hear the garage open at some point during the night. I don't know if I was having a nightmare, or I don't know if the garage was really opening. I don't know because I was so heightened about this fire. So I kept going through the house thinking that there was someone in the house. And I kept running up down the freaking garage, kept coming open. I'd open the door to the garage, nothing. I didn't see the garage being moved or anything. Again, I don't know. I remember coming back in the house and I was just like, I woke up again. I guess that's when I text my boss. I don't remember this part of it. Message went to my boss that said that my stepdad had died. I remember my stepdad died when I was 19. But I didn't snap back out of it. So later on, that really wasn't the same day that my stepdad had died. So then I think I hear somebody in the garage again. Okay, well then I go out to the garage and I tell Harley, I said, Harley, I'm going to to the garage and lock it, because if you shut the door from the inside and you come into the garage, like nobody could get to the inside. And I was like that paranoid, So I don't remember, but we're going on cam. I'm like walking out, I guess looking in the yard, just trying to figure out what's going on. But then I remember being in the garage naked. So I don't know who was in my garage. So when I talk to police, that's how all this came about being raised yourself, because I was having a flashback of that. I don't know if someone was really in the garage. For me, someone was in the garage because I was naked. And when I say naked, like I was in like bra. And I knew the door had been closed earlier, but why was the door open? That I locked for the day, like early in the night. When I get like that and I think somebody's around or whatever, I go into protective mode and I'll walk the whole time and I'll watch the yard and I'll be like on the zone of thinking someone's coming in the house, I don't know neighbors in Colorado. I'm not where I could call a neighbor, And so next thing I remember is Lena coming back in to brush her hair, which was then 3 hours later, okay? I'm facing my cell phone records, you know what I mean? I snapped out of it when Lena asked me, now you gotta remember, like when Maria comes, not they're in that world, like, they're not, it's protected, you know what I mean? I don't remember sending anything to the boss about my stepdad, you know what I mean? It was 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So Lena gets up, and I've been brushing her hair, and I come back, and I'm like looking around, and I was like, oh, there was a fire. Why was I in the garage? Why was this? That's when it started being like, did I dream this? Did this really happen? You know what I mean? So I go out to the garage, you know what I mean? That's when I grabbed my head, and there was like matted blood on my hair. So I knew that I had really fell down the stairs. Like I had thought I fell down the stairs. You know what I mean? And so the matted blood down my hair, whatever. So I just kept like messing with my hair, like trying to figure out what had went on. Well, I knew Gannon had burns on his arm. I evaluated him that next morning when I snapped back into it. I didn't think that it was enough to go to the hospital or whatever. As I was leaving, I had an extra cell phone. The phone I put in the dog food and I got over it. So on that phone, I called in. That's how the phone came in that Gannon wasn't going to go there. They couldn't figure out like where this call came from. That's where it came from. Holding my Gannon stomach, he still was losing. He doesn't want to know around the kids when he has this happen. So we stayed out for the day. I realized on my phone that I had sent that message to the boss, and I was like, what is going on? I remember sending it, but I don't know why was I thinking about my stepdad, what's going on, and I kept having these, at this point now, became flashbacks from the garage. And I was like, who was in the garage with me? But all the time it was about Eduardo, which is the guy that Guam got to work with or whatever. That's who I kept like having flashbacks with in the garage. So we go forward, whatever. I told Gannon, I said, he said he wanted to stay home. I said, no, you said my friends in the car came by. I don't want you here by yourself. You're going to go with me. I said, go grab your cover. You're going to go with me for today. I want you here by yourself. Now, typically, I let the kids stay home by themselves because I researched Colorado law and said that it was up to the parents and their discretion of how I could be able to have to stay home. So I never had a problem with it. They would get off the bus before I get home. No issues. We had an alarm. You know, they had cell phones, everything. But so my paranoia was so bad that I was like, they're going with me. So he gets the cover. I move the car. You know, don't remember that part, but it's on the camera. Moving the car. And I drive the truck for the day. I look at a bike. Part of the moving process will be like that. I was glad that the truck was left for me to use. So me and him get in the car. I think it says around like, no, before we get to 10 o'clock. Albert never writes the staff at all that night about anything. So the next morning, and he's like, oh my God, I'm fired, right? And I look at my phone, I didn't see anything. So that's why at first I thought that the fire really happened, because I never got a message back from Albert. But then that morning, he messaged back, and I said, yes, I was like, he's okay. So that's when I sent a picture again and in the bed that morning. So I was like, yes, he's fine. He's laying down. You know, he didn't go to school today. I called it in. I'm not going to work. I didn't go into explaining to Albert about me sending a message, losing my mind, don't know what's going on about. I don't want him to be like, you know, freaked out 1,000 miles away. So I told him, let's just go out shopping for the day. Remember, we go get coffee that morning. We go get my Dunkin' Donuts. I think they have me at Dunkin' Donuts. I don't remember going to the gas station, but they have me at the gas store. Just basically going about shopping for the day. However, when I get to the PetSmart, these black cars on PetSmart. We look these cars on the freaking camera at PetSmart. Gannon's got his switch in the car laid out. Remember, I told you he had burns in his arms. You right here now. Not that they were very small. We're talking like centimeters. They were anything that you would think that they needed medical attention. The car comes by PetSmart. So you see me on the cameras at PetSmart running back to the door, like looking out. My first thought was I wanted to make sure G was okay in the car because he was in a switch. Well, the car came back by. I go back in the PetSmart, come back to the door, and like if you watch the camera footage of the PetSmart, you see me going back and forth to the door. Like, so how did they know where I was at this point? And that was Edgar's car because Edgar has a Beamer. It was not a Beamer. So I leave the PetSmart. Things they said I bought something again. I don't remember. I leave the phone. Now this is the only phone I had, which was Gannon's phone, because I was trying to hurry up out to the car. So I leave the phone at PetSmart according to the GPS of the phone. So we go out and finish the day. We get Valentine's candy, and I'm like questioning Gannon the whole time of like, what did they notes when they came to the house? What did they look like? You know, like trying to get the best information I could get out of him because he's pretty good at like his age, like, you know, like, okay, he's little. If you say, was it a purple shirt? And no, it was not purple. It was purple. That, you know, so I knew I could get good information from him. So then we were driving on the back road, okay? The only reason we took a back road was because which we call 25 was backed up. And so we took a back road to go to Castle Rock. This guy lived in Castle Rock. We were going to drive by this address that was on that police report, and I was going to ask him to please stop, like whatever he wants. Did you want money? Like I didn't do anything to your car. I wasn't involved in this accident. Like you have all my information. Now the insurance had already deemed that I wasn't responsible for it and that I was on a plane. So I was going to think about talking to this guy. I probably would have chickened out when I got there, but that was my mindset. So we go on this back road, which I think is called County Line Road. We go on County Line Road, and Gannon talk about the castles. So I'm like looking for the castles to try to like show them the castles because there's like some castles that are like. Then I got mixed up. And, I was like, oh shoot, I don't have a cell phone to see how to get out of here because I need a cell phone. And so I couldn't figure out how to get out there. So I'm like doing U-turns, U-turns. Then I freak out because I thought the guy walking was my stepdad. So that's why I was telling the police and the people that I was trying to like back the car up and go back forward because he's dead. I don't know if it was just from that morning because I sent my boss that text message or what, but he was on that road. So I backed the car up, go back again, and I'm freaking out because he's dead. This point is when I realized I'm not stable. If I just going to talk to people or anything. So park the car for a minute, take a break or whatever. I don't know how long the break was. I remember taking the break. I remember tapping me on the back of the shoulder, like, geez, we gotta go, like, gotta get late to school. That's when I sat back into it. And I remember driving the car back out the highway, like out of the County Line Road, to go back to the house. So remember I told you I was talking again throughout the day. He said something about these kids that were bullied. Not him, but Lena. And Albert wanted him to go do something to these boys. Him told that Lena got hit or something. I was going to go talk to that kid. His mom was on Wanda. So we come back into the neighborhood, into the part where Wanda drives at. Now, rewind a few days prior to that, him and the kid had been called. They're like the Smarty candy and the like rolls. Well, they had been caught a few days prior fashion the Smarty candies and like they were doing drugs or whatever. My opinion was you should not have them kids. So I was going to go try to talk to the parents. But once I had this whole like, my stepdad was on that road, I freaking stopped the car at Wando and Bannon, how about you do this? Because he wanted a video game. I said, why don't you go to the mailbox, get the mail, and do your lap, and I will buy you that $50 game. I didn't say no, we had been shopping, and I only bought him a $20. I told her 2 points, give you points to give you the $60 game. So go to the mailbox and do your laps or whatever. So I don't know if Gannon got back in the car with me then, or Gannon walked back to the house then, but we ended up back at the house. So if you see the videos, you see me like pull in, drive back, do all this stuff. I don't remember all that. I just thought that I was trying to like work with stepdad. I just remember I went in the house and I just sit down and was like this is crazy. You know what I mean? The alarm stuff, I kept going to the back door and all over the house and like up and down and around and whatever. Well, what threw me off was when I got back to the house, right? The alarm showed that there was motion in the house. But because I set the alarm before I left, but I put it on alarm stay. Because the dogs were in the house, people would say that could have been what triggered the alarm. No, our dogs are crazy. That's not what triggered the alarm. And so I ran downstairs thinking, okay, well, maybe Guam had Eduardo come over here and fix this, carpet or whatever. So I ran downstairs, whatever. At some point in time, like I said, I don't remember getting a wall back from the car, just drove back with me. But he then comes back into the house, said he's going to go play on the game. I said, did you do your laps? And I remember us having that conversation. And I go back upstairs to work out. Lots of tweets have about January 27th. Absolutely not true because it's January 28th. Okay? So the day goes on through that. Right? Everything happens. I don't know where against that. Call the police. All that was going on. Everything that happened on that time was going on. They put in our house with, I think it was like 15, 20 body cams. You can clearly see, and I watched these body cams until I made myself sick, that you can see these body cams come in and nothing is out of order, nothing has happened, nothing is wrong at all. And I've watched them over and over and over until I obsessed on them, When Harley comes home, ready to come in that day, we were going to go eat sushi. Lennon is not a fan of sushi. So at this point in time, I'm like, we'll figure out something else to do. Anna usually is home by the time that if it's sun's not out, it'd be 6 o'clock. But it was raining. So we get in the car, they have us on the car raining, like leaving in the rain. So right there across the street, ask this neighbor if we've seen it. No, we haven't seen it. So we pull back up. I'm freaking out. I'm pacing the house, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like, he's doing this flipping hiding challenge. Now, reverse back to this hiding challenge. They have a YouTube channel, their mom, stepdad made, and like, if you find their YouTube, it's Cool Kids 2 is their YouTube channel. They would do these hiding challenges where like, Elena would be in the box, and they would pretend like they were getting shipped all these places. We went over to the mom. Nothing we thought was bad about the kids wanted to do YouTube videos. Flashback to them. So I said, he's doing this hiding challenge. So these were talking to me. I'm just sitting there like, man, he said, do you want, and I know this is going to fall in the video, do you want me to check the house? And I said, yes. Because I knew this night challenge Lisa trained. You can't tell me this many police came in the house and didn't find him. You can't tell me that. That's because it was not true. So they did all this, whatever. The night goes on. Other cars back, and I'm wrecking this. Telling him about this craziness, telling him about the garage, all over the place. All the stories, it kind of like started like throughout the day, it was constantly screams all over the place. And I'm going back and forth with this and with others. So he sends the officer back to check on me. According to the report, the officer comes back to check on me, and at this point is when I got scared. At this point, I know Gannon is enough to know. His meds wears off, he's going to get everything. At this point in time, we haven't even eaten dinner. I haven't fed the kids. We never even made it to our dinner trip. So that's when I became really, really, really worried. All of us are in the house, and they went on different searches, whatever. I stayed at the house to make sure of anything. If anyone called, if anyone got me. That was the last thing on January 27th before it hit January 28th. January, you'll keep on January 28th. You want to keep on January 28th, or did you need it? Okay. So then January 28th, which would hit 12 a.m. in the morning, right? The January 28th comes on. There's people like whatever, there's a knock on the window. My bed's on the window, right? So, decided that we were going to all sleep upstairs. The reason for that was I get paranoid like that, and the only way I can protect Hardy and Lena is I have them near me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, look, all of us are sleeping up here. We're not all up here. I knew I wasn't going to get much sleep, but for the kids, they were going to sleep. I dozed off for a minute. There was a knock at the door, being at the window. So the knock at the window happens, and I go to the window. I don't see. I remember getting in the car, driving out, because I maybe that was Gannon. I drive. Maybe I was supposed to be driving out of the neighborhood, like out of the yard, for coming right back or whatever. Or I can't remember. I don't remember that part, but I do know the video shows me like going out to the car, and I come back inside. I keep hearing the same loud noise. And so I laid out like this, here's the same loud noise, and I know Edgar was on his way back over. But Edgar wasn't going to be there when the police was there. He didn't want any problems or whatever. He was like, I'm going to just go out and look, what does the black car look like? So I knew Edgar was going to be on his way back over that morning because they were going to help me move all this stuff to Florida. That was his whole plan, to show back up that morning anyway, not even knowing what I had, like, that Gannon was missing. So Edgar was coming back for that morning anyway. So I thought Edgar was getting there early or whatever. But I didn't see him outside. When I laid on the sofa like this, breathed again, I forgot. At this point, I think someone's in the house. Now, I didn't have my handgun on me because when the police came earlier, if you look at the footage, they had my handgun in the car. They searched the car, searched everything on the body cam. So this is what we came up with between, me and like putting details together on my team. My handgun was in my car because it was on the video. So I don't know back door or if he came in through the garage. But I kept telling him I keep hearing someone in the house. And he was like, no, you're just paranoid. You're just afraid. You don't know where Gannon is at. Again, Edgar, Angelica, that's Edgar's family, and Lena were all in the house. Harley, Lena, I think Angelica was laying down, and Ty was on his way back. I went to school in Florida. Ty was on his way back here. Whenever that was again, I realized my handgun is in the car. I never drove my car, it was in the car all day. Meaning, okay. So here, and I started going down the stairs slowly, and I went back up the stairs. And I was like, downstairs. Now, I don't know who's downstairs, what's going on. I don't even know if anyone's in the house or if it's just the people looking or well, what's going on? When we go back downstairs, Edgar has like the other handgun on him. Crossing over the front stairwell, someone in it looks like it. So it's like a cape wrapped around it. Goes straight into the back bedroom. As soon as I see him go straight back bedroom, I'm gonna instantly go with the protection mode. I went to go grab it, grab the gun off like from the anchor, and I thought the person in the cave. I didn't know who it was. I happened with the whole Michael, the archangel, the whole thing that happened with my stepdad. And I grabbed it from him. The gun hits me and then hits the person in the cave. At the time, I didn't know who the person in the cave was. Oh, maybe on top of the bed. I didn't know at the time it was staying on top of the bed. And so later on, when I sat down with my attorneys and we put it together and realized it, I didn't know at that point that it was Gannon's family. Prior to that, I thought the whole like chain thing. We put it together over and over and over, and I sit and I cry with them. I did this with them and everything. The only thing that comes to my mind is that the way the cover was wrapped, that's what had to look like the cape, with the way that he had the cover wrapped around him. They can see what they want, whatever about me. I never was purposely hurt Gannon or hurt anyone that I would have thought it would have been Gannon. Never in a million years, okay? Never. Had these kids all over the country. If I was going to do something like that, it was somewhere in another country. Like, come on, like people want to kill people doing it because they want to take someone's life. That's not what happened. They paid me as this monster and I did all these crazy things. I never once knew it was Gannon. I, in fact, didn't even know it was Gannon until later on. The reason I did Lena, I guess the noise was Lena. You read the report, Lena told you that she helped carry Gannon's body. That reported her in. She says on that Gannon's body's not moving. That's because she was there to see help carry Gannon's body to the floor. I couldn't get him upstairs. I didn't even know it was Gannon at that time until I lose it. Like I am all over the place, like screaming, crying. That's how Lena hears it. Lena's up now. Harley's still asleep. She hasn't woke up to reading this. Harley's a hard sleeper. Lena helps me choke Gannon upstairs. I'm throwing up like blood, the side of him. Like I am literally on Gannon is still alive. Gannon is barely talking. We try to get him upstairs. We can take him. I'm like all over the place. We get out the garage, go to the class. Not going out. Because at this point, I think I was in complete and utter shock. And I'm throwing, I know I'm throwing up because I see all this later. So I tell you I know I'm doing something. Sit back and written a timeline and look at everything. Figure, this out. The guy says on it. I was in the car on the passenger side, and we were taking Gannon to the hospital. But I was on the passenger side. Okay. Now my leg's bleeding, which if you look at the footage from the hospital, you can see where I got hit with a bullet. So my leg's bleeding. And that's probably why there was a little bit of my blood on the car. I don't know at this point. I don't know if she went back in the regular party. I don't know anything because I remember waking back up in the car, being like there's no palm trees. Now you say, what is palm trees? In South Carolina, when you go to the hospital, there's palm trees. It's on the Grand Strand. That's why it's called Grand Strand. The beach, and then there's palm trees. I didn't see palm trees when we were in the car, so I didn't think I was on the right road. Passenger seat, not in the driver's seat. Next thing I know, when I wake back up, I hear a loud noise, like a howling noise, like a noise, and reminds me of like when my grandpa died, he made like this noise. That was the noise I heard, but I wake back up and I'm in the garage, in the car. Now we look at camera footage and my car does go out 5 minutes. So leave the neighborhood. So what we put together is that it must have been when I went out in the car hearing the noise, that must have been when Gavin took his last breath and I was still out of it. Go back in and park the car. Or come back to until Lena came back outside to the car. And Lena's asking what's going on, what's everything. I don't know how. Harley's face, Lena's face, they're all just like white, like they've seen a ghost. Like they don't even know what's going on. Police, the whole world. As if this ain't really going on. Like there's no way this happened. Like there's nothing wrong, y'all. Everything's fine. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be home. That's when I started going through like all the motions of, you know, going to go get this person, because to me it wasn't really going on. Like this was, you can't even compare this to a nightmare. To have gone through that, you can't compare it to a nightmare. That is far from nothing. And to know that he was speaking to me and Lena as we were trying to take him off the stairwell. And then it was like, none of it was real. So I just started going into different personality of like, this ain't really going on. We gotta find him. I don't know what to do. I guess somehow I go on to the airport. I don't remember any of that, but I want footage going on to the airport. I want footage just talking to people, saying like, we're gonna find him. Like I don't really like remember that vividly. I know I did it because I've seen it. I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't do it because it was there. Like, me talking to people, me doing everything. I got just disassociated, and I was like, this is not, that there is no way this happened. So, Edgar, or another male, he's a family member, and I'm not going to say their name. Somehow during this mix, when I was like going crazy, trying to get spoken over, and I was screaming, everybody talking about it's an accident, it's an accident. I think they have one of the things reports where I was like, I didn't ever know it was Gannon, because I really didn't. It's someone that came. The reason he was taller was because the bed was sitting, like, you know, you think a twin bed. He was standing on the bed. So to me, or to whoever I was, thought that was a person in a cave. That's the only reason. At all. That is the only reason. And like I played this back, like I said, 50 times in my head. Like, was I in the right mind to turn the light switch on? No. My mind was in the technique. Because he wasn't there. He wasn't there. Where was he at? Like, this was somebody in the house. It was probably someone trying to molest him. It was probably someone trying to hurt one of us. So what I was already going through with my stepdad earlier in the day, Maria could have thought it was my stepdad. He could have thought it was anyone who was trying to hurt anyone else. She's going to protect me. That part of me goes to protection mode with everyone else around me. So there was never a moment. There's no murder. There's no hurt. There's no intent. Look, I had everything running in my life. Career, and that agreement. There was no reason to hurt anyone in my home. Again, absolutely nothing. I hurt a child. But if you negativity, kid, crazy as evil, I took care of this kid. So I go through that. No, I had to carry him up. I could never million years tell anybody what was not okay. It's not a store, it's not a home. Or now there's someone in a cave. Like, how do you even explain that again in small that you think it's someone in a cave? You can't. You know? But then what happened after was even worse because I never even moved again before. Not going to incriminate anyone in the milk question. I'm not going to do that. There wasn't any intent there to harm anybody. There was no intent for anything. I went crazy thinking I could raise women in the bed. I was driving him around the Burger King trying to get him Happy Meals. I freaking took him back to GameStop to get that $60 game that I told you about that I told him to get earlier. That's how freaking crazy I was going. Because I was like, he's going to wake up. You know, I don't know if y'all know Andrew Womack. I tried to find Andrew Womack's house. But he brought his son back from the dead for $5 at Memorial. And I grew up watching the Daily Gospel. Womack, I just kept thinking, like, God, if people power to bring back somebody like this, it's not supposed to be happening. All you not even believing this is even happening. That's how my mind shifts. I was a male person. I at some point told my mom, but I completely lost it because I told you my mom came out here. My mom, they were all, you have lost it. You can't bring somebody back. They already knew that they were going to, involve themselves in it. You are going crazy. You need to go to a hospital. I didn't have anything to do with body damage. I really kept saying he has to get back to minor. Well, that's where his grandma and grandpa have a farm. That's where he was like, the person left couldn't carry him anymore. And the whole thing didn't carry him. It wasn't he like, something else. That was a horrible thing. That's why the male person who tampered with evidence, who tampered with body, that was not me. Not that they didn't tell you that. They know with him by a weapon and did this for him. That was the first thing that was out. And then freaking, you think about a cave. What if cobalt colors on a cave? What do I think about? What was going on in my mind during the day for my stepdad? If someone was finding a left hand, if someone was hurting these kids, going through my brain. Or I didn't even have my own handgun on me. I didn't even like them. I didn't even shoot them. Not even me. Maria can shoot them. I can't shoot them. So, yeah. And someone to get to hear the truth of it is like the hardest thing because people are like, oh, why didn't you turn the light on to see if someone's in a cave? Like, I sit there and told my therapist and people that, like, do you think I had that thought? There was a thought to be like, hey, that's not even a thought I had. This is a thought is when Maria comes. It's okay. Where was in this house? That's exactly what happened. There was no hurt, there was no ill will, there was no anger, there was no passion, there was every definition they have in this book that was just on it. None of that is right. That's how it happened. And you can't even say like there's no self-defense. So I thought this was something else. How do I know who this is? I have the right mindset to decide, to make that decision. I didn't know right or wrong who this was, what I was doing. My mind goes to, there's kids in this home, there's Linda, there's Carly, and one of my kids are missing. Her, red, pink, whatever, but that is 100% the truth. Staying grade 20, not change. after all of them.
And so we don't know how body ended up in Florida.
No, so, okay. Leaving, they held me back. So, because people were going crazy in the neighborhood, and they were like threatening to kill me and all this. But the police allowed me to leave. They came and helped me back. There's body cam footage of them packing the van up with my clothing and the police are there. They allowed me to leave. Still in that mindset of like, I don't know what, like, this can't be going on. This is worse than a nightmare. This, in my mind, it kept being like, I'm going to wake up and this is just one of these bad dreams. Like, that's how it kept being like, this is not happening. Like, there's got to be some camera popped out any moment for some show or something. It was not denial. It was more so like, that it was not reality. That was. So they helped me load the car up. There was another male person who was, again, I'm not going to say their name because at the end of the day, it's still my family. He was trying to protect me and was like, you need to stop. You need help. Like, you've lost your mind. And he was trying to protect me. I'm trying to protect him. I just kept there. You know, I'm going to Florida, and I'm going to drop myself off, and I'm going to go to South Carolina because I knew that's where LaRonda and Mac lived. And I just kept yelling at them. LaRonda and Mac live there. I got to go talk to them. And I know this only through their interviews, what they've said too. I went to LaRonda and Mac. Somewhere in my brain, I guess it recognized LaRonda Mac or his mom and dad. And everybody those were only people that ever helped me. So like one part of my brain was like just kept that I gotta talk to them, So I get in the car. I don't remember really driving. Like they have me on stores where I go and explore the buy stuff. I swear on my breath. I don't even remember one of these stores. I'm not even a driver to ride on planes. So for me to even be in the car that long, that's how much I was out of this world. And then at some point in time, I'm supposed to like meet them, and they call me, and they're like, "You're losing your mind. We're not going any further. We're not going to South Carolina." I could not get down up very intense because my mindset kept saying, "I'm taking him to his grandparents' farm to have a proper burial." Because if he would have been buried, like, if Albert would have had control of it in Colorado, he would have never, like be involved in that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I just kept saying, let's go to LaRonda Max. They can make a good decision. If they don't know what to do, they can help me bring you back to life. That's when the mill person intervened and kept saying, you're losing your mind. You can't bring somebody back. And I have to protect them, too, because I don't go out saying their name. Common sense, you can put two and two together, the middle figures that were here, but you never hear it out of my mouth. At the end of the day, you. And he was just trying to like figure out why I was going crazy, and so at the same time figure out like this is really reality. But that was the only reason he ended up in Martin, because when they left me, he never wrote. His body was never with me. His body was never in the car. They pulled the whole van apart and seen that there was no DNA evidence at all. And it was never in van that I drove myself. Never. Ever. It wasn't until I get to Florida and I'm telling everybody, like, we have to bring you back to life. LaRonda could help. Those individuals who flew on an airplane and went to Florida after they got off the airplane. That is the only reason. Or else, I don't know. My investigators have asked me, what was your plan? Were you just going to pull up at the farm in South Carolina? And I didn't have a plan. There was, in my mind, that's probably what I was trying to think about doing is get to Rhonda and Max, but like, there was never a plan. Like, I don't know if I was going to pull up there and, lose my mind, tell them what had happened. I didn't know. I just knew running has been part of my life. So running always makes things disappear. Like, it's not real. So I was under the impression that this was all just a nightmare, that as soon as I got away from this, I was just going to snap back into it and this was not the life. But it never happened that way. Then I started, like, when I was in South Carolina, telling people crazy stuff. I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. I just kept saying to people, it's not what you think, this is not what happened, he's going to come back to life. And like all my friends in South Carolina kept being like, what do you mean he's not going to come back? He's going to come back to life. What is going on? And I know by this point, I'm no medical professional, but I know for a fact that I was in a point. Because I never in my life have been through hallucinations. I never in my life have been through the things I was going through to explain that. To think there was a person in the cave. To think that this person was harming somebody. Never had been that height. And it called me the woman. It's not about me. It's Landon's life. His life. Charlie's life. Like, I don't know. One decision that wasn't even right. So yeah, sometimes I do check in all reality to like, this ain't real. You back. It was all my heart. I took care of it. Beautifully. Gave him the minimum. Freaking took him food. Everything. What? If anything, you know. And people make up these things about stab marks. It's not stab marks. Those were from the fire. I've looked at the words that I've memorized it. They say like 1.2 centimeters, 1.4. We're talking centimeters of fire. I don't care what they say. There was never anybody doing anything, slicing, dashing, whatever the hell the news puts on there. That's not true. There were marks from the fire. Which was exactly what I told him. They were on the arms and chest. What I told him when I was going through these stories and my brain was so convoluted. All this together. I was talking about the rape. I was talking about the garage. I was talking about marks. I was talking about the bleeding. Like shock that all of it went together in these crazy. It was almost like a word salad. Nothing was coherent. Really understand. So that ain't no approach that people take to get out of crime. Never, they're a felon, never done that. Don't just wake up one day and decide to start murdering people. It's because it was not meant. He was missing. This is how I was back. She was raping him, she was molesting him, she was gun here, she was gun here. I watched this body cam footage so much that like everybody's like, well, where was he at that night? They opened the one closet with the ornaments and stuff. I swear to you, I see it move. I see it move with the cup. And I'm telling everybody on my team, I'm like, y'all don't see that, y'all don't see that. That's where he was hiding at. That's where he was at the whole night of the 27th. How did that fire miss him? How did he come in there with freaking body cams trained to find people, trained at kids hiding, trained at that, this, that. How? That's why I go back and forth with everything they have. Had he, I'm not blaming this on him because God knows I would never blame this, someone else like that. Had he done it, the outcome probably be different. Yeah, absolutely. Well, my position though, that is not supposed to be the house. You're ready to take another kid. For me, her, does that agree with things like that? She doesn't think. She doesn't think this is the right way. She thinks I'm about to hurt anybody that's about to hurt people I love. Hard to pay. You just don't know how bad I just want to sit down with Landon. You changed my mental state. But you gotta know in your heart, not to hurt kids. And go back to teaching kids. Never hurt, like, I have no history of anything. Like, even the FBI testified on the stand and the prelim was like, there's no history of any kind of abuse of shit. And not abuse. Because I was the one that always came to rescue him for everything. Now we even get to like even complain of the bio, get to say anything, and they have to. She has to think to the world. Her brother, like, come on. But I was in a autopsy report and said, like, within the jaw, and it was like, farm. But I always keep, like, try to sit there and try to piece together because I'm missing, like, what point am I missing this part? I'm missing this part. Everything is, like, the evidence. You're gonna get listen, if you're gonna kill somebody, you don't shoot them in the jaw. Murderers kill people. Most female people who kill people are psychopaths and they poison people and they do all the time. Not even knowing his business, he shoot him in the jaw. And they paint it as this murder. So like, don't kill them like before. Never had a scratch on their body. Ever in their life. Ever. So, this is what happens. And try to get these people to like understand that is the hardest thing ever. Because had I not, maybe if I had to be blunted, I was older today thinking my stepdad was still alive. Maybe I like trying to play everything. Maybe it's like I wasn't worried about these people not letting stay home that day. You know, maybe you wouldn't have left because of the situation. People trying to follow me from the stupid correct thing. Like, and I'm trying to find a switch that might have kept me from being at the state I was in. But then they like painted this whole thing about cleaning supplies. If you guys have seen the receipt, I mean, I've memorized the receipt. It's trash bags, carpet powder, candy, nothing in there ever sent anyone to get cleaning supplies. Pull up the receipt all day long. And say it. It's not true. Hey. probably be stopping here at this point. A little late. I hear like a lot of like stones in the village. What people do and stuff. Whatever you do, you just don't remember the whole mindset these people took. You won't ever find it in my history. Yeah, you should ever nothing like that for children. Because we need a lot more.
Worked pretty hard to consider all of the
Say a lot, but I don't suppose it. At all. Some people would just be like, oh, I have nothing to do with it or nothing. From the beginning, I got out of it at CJC in the beginning, and I kept being like, it's not real. But at some point, it hits you like, okay, no, those cameras are coming out. No, this is really going on. And people still got to see me, and they're like, wait a minute, something right. Like, you are like, always follow rules. You don't do this, you don't do that. Like, just don't make these rules. And so, I know last time you guys know that they were like, I was hard at the jail, but like, once they got to know that that's not who I am, things got easy. Like, they weren't easy. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't think of me like how this is. They started more and more being like, there's something we're missing, and I always just feel like you just have no idea what is actually missing from you. It's not because someone, that's not true. Whether you want to call it that on paper or the Bible, it is. There's 100% no determination. Me not turning the light switch on or turning it on, off, on. Me determining who was there, who was not, caper, under the cape or not. There was no determination for it. And I've read that, every part of that book I told you I read it. There was no determining stuff. Because in my family, there is none. He's here in this house. They didn't reach him. So then, like, whether he was alive that day or not alive that day, I would still struggle with that. Like, I'll still be in the jail, like, thinking he's there, having these nightmares, doing whatever. And I'm like, I don't even know if it's going to stop. Like, I don't know if it'll ever stop. Like, he's doing this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll take our morning recess. If I can have everyone back in the jury room at say 10 till 11, we should be able to start on time at that point. Again, don't discuss the case with yourselves, don't discuss the case with anyone else. And we'll see you back at 10 till 11. All right, for the jury, please.
Oh my God.
You may all be seated. Record should reflect the jury has left the courtroom. Is there anything we need to take up outside the presence of the jury at this point in time? Prosecution?
No, Your Honor.
Yes. Okay. All right. All right. Court will be in recess then.
All rise.
Oh dear God. You don't shut up. Yeah, just so everybody knows that I got a phone call. So I'm only able to do the morning half of this hearing, and Dippy's going to do the second half. Yes, no, stop talking. This is weird motion. I'm going to have to separate this one. And just think, prosecution said it's going to be videos of her talking all day. Why? What's wrong with my voice? Oh, you had it on mute? Come on now, that should be me. Oh, I still have Joy. You know what? She's exhausting. Besides, one of my kids is really mentally exhausting. But oh my God. Maybe you should put your channel link in the chat so people know where to go. I wish they had better cameras though. She could never do that. She can, stress me out like everybody else. My daughter's mentally exhausting. She's 28. I think it's her dad's side. Yeah, the one is 33. I'm just careful with my words because I don't want to, embarrass them or anything. There's just some things you don't share with social media. So what are you guys thinking? Now, I see she doesn't have any alter personalities coming through in this. Oh, I heard him say that all day long. It's going to be like this, which honestly, I don't mind because I want to hear what she's got to say. But come on, take a breather, get something to eat, something to drink. Yes, I agree. What time did they say they're going to be back? Anybody here? I'm going to see what's going here on Twitter with Lori Vallow. Yeah, I don't care about the experts. Well, I kind of do, but I want to hear what she says in her own mind. Okay, let's see what's going on with Lori Vallow. Uh-oh. Oh my God, they're looking at pictures. Oh, hold on, you guys. I'm sorry. They are looking at Tammy Daybell's body. Her morgue pits. Oh my God. Horrible close-up photo of her face. Foam has been removed from her face. Oh my gosh. Tammy had a small bruise on her arm. Very close up, Tammy's head with the reddish pink foam running out of her mouth. Oh my gosh. Okay, a picture of her in bed. And what is wrong with law enforcement out there? Saying she died in her sleep? No, she was poisoned. Tammy's sister is not in courtroom. Okay, let me go to this lady. I think she works for Law and Crime. Yep. Hold on. What's going on with Garth? You know what? I'm going to go to Nate. I hate it when they don't go in order, kind of. No life-saving measures were needed. Okay. Lori's attorney asked PD what time she responded to the Daybell's house. She said around 6 a.m. Chad waited 20 minutes to call 911, and Chad gave no reason why. Wow. New thread. This is what I want. The first photo was taken from the entry of Tammy's bedroom. Okay, I see how Nate's doing this now. Okay, you hear Chad saying he's crying, she's frozen, then calmly says his name, Chad Daybell. He continues to talk like he's crying while saying, "Oh man." The dispatcher says, "I'm so sorry," and says someone is on their way. And another one, his daughter said, "We just found my mom. She's on the ground frozen or stiff. I don't know." Oh, Tammy's son said that. Chad comes on the phone and says, "I'm Chad, the husband. She's clearly dead." Yeah, I'm on Nate's. Who's Christina? Oh, dispatcher. I'm just skimming through this. That's all. Wow. Then they're talking about the paintball gun. Does anybody think that was Alex that came there? Dear God, can you imagine being in that courtroom and typing all this? Oh. Chad remarried 2 weeks after Tammy's death, which we know. They both were in grieving due to losing their spouses. Oh, were they all over it? Okay. Oh. Hey, Maisie. Okay, Tammy Daybell's sister is going to be on the stand, or was. See, they didn't even know who Lori was. Her sister. She's seen it when she's seen the newspaper articles about the man in Arizona. He did not die of a heart attack. Ooh. Please tell me about this woman you replaced with my sister. So it sounds like they're using the excuse that they got remarried so soon because they were all grieving. Oh, come on now. Go grieve with the children. Okay. Have you seen Tammy's obituary? Oh, it won't let me go there, you guys. See? What's up with Twitter? Wow. Okay. Whew. I'm sure they're gonna have the whatchamacallit today. I'm gonna get remarried now. Are you? Okay. That's funny. Okay, we'll go back to the courtroom. Yeah, what I find is, well, not funny. You guys know how I talk. That they're showing the autopsy photos. Boy, that must be making it real. I mean, they're showing every one of them. I'm sure somebody in the courtroom got pics and they're going to post them online. Well, if they can get away with it. I wonder if Letecia is getting sick right now. What do you guys think? Here we go.
All right, court call 20 CR 1358, People versus Letecia Stauch. Record should reflect the jury had is not present in the courtroom. Is there anything we need to take up at this point in time, Mr. Young?
No, Your Honor.
Yes. Mr. Tellini?
Oh,
Mr.
look at her head.
Anything we need to take up?
Oh,
at this
no,
point
I'm
in time?
sorry.
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and bring the jury in. Yeah, very good. All right, court will call 20 CR 1358. Letecia Stauch, record should reflect the jury has returned to the courtroom. Mr. Young?
Thank you, Your Honor. You might be surprised, but I had some questions based on the last clip that we just saw. So the jury understands, is this the last time that you talked to Ms. Stauch on March 24th, 2022?
That was the first time that we spoke to her for our sanity interview, because we saw her again in June.
I mean, because we saw some other clips that took place, and it looked like there was breaks and sessions where she would leave. Is this the last session on that day that you talked to her?
Yes.
Okay. And at the end, you said you're going to have her come back, and we're going to talk about June in a moment. But did she eventually come back and you asked her some more questions?
She did.
Now, in this particular clip, you and Dr. Gray didn't ask a lot of questions. I think Dr. Gray asked one with about 20 minutes left. Then you said some things towards the end there. Was that unusual?
It depends. Every case is different. Some defendants give practically a full account, almost in the way that Ms. Stauch did the first time that we asked them to explain it to us. Some defendants give a very brief account and require a lot more follow-up questions. So given that she spoke so much, there was a lot to process and a lot to think about and a lot to go through before we could ask further follow-up questions.
But as she's telling these things to you on the clip that we just saw, were you thinking that whether or not that was consistent with what you read in discovery or what you've seen other statements that she made about this incident?
Yes.
Why didn't you ask her those things?
During the first recounting, we usually don't like to interrupt. We like the defendant to just let us know the things that essentially they want us to know. When it comes to things of inconsistencies, that can come up the second time we go through it, or in this particular circumstance, we ended the evaluation that day because I think we had already been going for about 5 hours or 5 hours and a half. In some sanity interviews, we'll ask follow-up questions immediately based off of the notes that we're taking.
Is the entire contact that you and Dr. Gray had with the defendant, Ms. Stauch, on March 24th, 22, Was that video recorded?
Yes.
Did you ever talk to her at any time off camera?
No.
During the course of her statement, she alluded to the fact that she's read Discovery or read police reports. Do you recall her saying things like that?
Yes.
Do you recall her talking about the body-worn camera that she reviewed and things like that?
Yes.
She also alluded to the autopsy and said do you remember what she said about the autopsy?
I believe she said she had obsessed over it.
She memorized the autopsy report?
Yes.
Was that unusual in a forensic setting for someone that you're evaluating in an insanity evaluation, for them to be verbose on discovery and know everything that was been discovered?
Again, this is one of those, it depends. Sometimes people are more aware of what the discovery says in their particular case, and sometimes they're not, or they have less of an idea.
Do you recall her using terms such as psychosis, disassociated, things like that?
Yes.
And are those terms commonly used in your everyday conversations with people?
Not in everyday conversations with people.
She indicated a couple times that she's read the whole book and things like that. Towards the end of the interview, she indicated that I know right from wrong. I read the book from cover to cover. Do you recall her saying something to that?
Yes.
Did that give you an indication that perhaps she may have reviewed the DSM-5?
I had wondered, but I don't know if she did.
May we approach?
Hey, you guys, I want to try something real quick, okay? And let me know if you hear me. Very important why, okay? Okay, hold on. Hello, can you hear me? Holla. Awesome. Oh, you can, G? Okay, hold on. Let me do it again, okay?
here. She talks about, we all decided that all of us were going to sleep upstairs. Do you remember her saying that?
Yes.
And she's referring to herself, Harley, and Lena.
Yes.
And then she goes into the details as to what she thinks happened to Gannon.
Yes.
And she somehow says, or she tells you that a person by the name of Edgar comes by.
Yes.
And Edgar has a relative named Angelica.
I don't remember.
Okay. Again, from review of the police reports and the surveillance video that's monitoring 6627, did you ever see a black BMW show up with two individuals come out and go into the house?
I don't remember seeing that.
He talks about her and Edgar going downstairs. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And what do you recall her saying that she sees as they're going downstairs?
She says she sees someone in the house, someone who's wearing a cape.
And in your expert opinion, is that when, if it happens, the triggering event occurs and she changes into Maria Sanchez?
It's a little hard to tell from her self-report. It seems as though that's what she's trying to imply to some degree, because she talks about going into protection mode, and she often references Maria as the protector. And at the same time, in her self-report, it seems as though she's explaining what she is seeing, presumably as Letecia Stauch, in terms of seeing someone in a cape.
And that's what I was going to ask you about, is someone who has dissociative identity disorder, are they going to be able to recall what happens as a different person? I know that's a weird question, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Once that triggering event happens.
In terms of how Ms. Stauch has explained her dissociative identity disorder, she doesn't have access to Maria. She can't tell us what Maria is thinking at any point in time. So I would think that if Ms. Stauch had dissociated into Maria, there would be a lack of awareness or understanding or memory for that period of time from Ms. Stauch's perspective.
And would it be common if someone is truly legally insane at that moment? Would it be common for them to say, I blacked out, I don't know what happened after that moment?
That happens a lot.
Does that happen a lot in criminal cases?
I suspect it happens often enough in criminal cases.
Where insanity is an issue.
Where insanity is an issue, it's common, I would say, for people to have periods of not remembering, especially if they are having some sort of acute mental health crisis at that moment.
So in this particular case of Ms. Stauch, if she had dissociative identity disorder to the point where it turned into a severe mental disease or defect as defined in the insanity statutes, would you expect her to have recall of the events that took place after she went to a different persona?
I would expect her to report more loss of memory for those things.
I think that answered, I think we're saying the same thing. So you wouldn't expect her to give you details about Gannon standing on the bed with a blanket around?
Not if she was dissociating at the moment.
And did she ever explain to you and Dr. Gray how she could go from protected mode, where Gannon was part of this protected mode, to killing Gannon?
We never asked her that question specifically. However, her self-report to us implies that she didn't know it was Gannon and that she thought it was somebody who had come into the home, possibly an intruder.
As she talks about Maria, is it clear that Maria Sanchez, based on what Mitch Stauch is telling you, knew who Gannon was and that she was there to protect him.
That's my understanding.
And as she's telling you about this tall person who she perceived to be tall because Gannon's on the bed, do you recall her mentioning that that's what she talked about with her attorneys and that's what her attorneys told her?
I think she did make mention that that was part of the conversations that she had with her attorneys.
And you know the circumstances of how Gannon was found in Florida?
Yes.
Do you know the bedding material that is wrapped around him in his suitcase?
Yes.
Is it consistent with what she's telling you he has wrapped around him, this red and black blanket?
I don't remember the colors of the blanket.
At some point, she says Lena wakes up. And she says Lena actually helps carry Gannon after he's been shot up the stairs, the car, and the garage. You remember telling me that?
Yes.
Did you review the interview that was conducted with Lena Stauch with regards to this investigation?
I did.
Do you recall the last time she said she saw Gannon?
I don't recall the last time she said, but I don't think it's consistent with being present or carrying a body up the stairs.
If she would have said that in her interview, you think you would have remembered that, especially when Miss Stauch says it here?
Yes.
Do you remember other interviews that Miss Stauch gave where she talks about Lena coming home from school and she had to do her laps, went to the mailbox, rode her bike, and didn't come into the house?
Yes.
She goes into the fact that she tried to bring Gannon back to life. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Is there any significance to her saying that to you?
We considered that. So I would say that it does have some significance. However, as it pertains to the issue of insanity, again, insanity is such a narrow focus. This is stuff that would have happened following the actual shooting. So it doesn't speak so much to the time of the offense as it pertains to the issue of a murder. In terms of the charges of tampering with a deceased human body, it has more weight on that. So it was interesting to us that she said that she took the body from one place to another and then even was hopeful to find this Mr. Womack to have some sort of resurrection.
And do you recall Lena saying anything about that in the review of her interview about them driving around trying to bring him back to life in the car?
I don't remember her saying anything about that.
Do you remember reading any police reports or seeing any surveillance video of that happening?
No.
She also tells you that she got hit in the leg with a bullet. Do you recall her saying that?
Yes.
What was that all about?
I don't know. We didn't follow up on that.
Had you read or seen any medical reports or anything that said she had been shot in the leg with a bullet?
No.
At some point, she says that Harley and Lena's faces are white, like they just seen a ghost. Do you remember her saying that?
Yes.
Would you expect Harley to recall that if that actually happened?
Yes.
Do you expect Lena to recall that if that happened?
Possibly.
When she was talking to you about Gannon talking to her and Lena as they're going up the stairs, do you recall that line of questioning?
Yes.
She said that she was switching, or she was having different personalities at that point. Do you recall her saying that?
As they were going up the stairs?
Yes.
Vaguely.
Any relevance to that, to your opinion?
If the events occurred as Ms. Stauch has said that they did, to me, it would not surprise me that somebody might go into some sort of shock. And if she had a mental illness like a dissociative identity disorder, it wouldn't surprise me if that would cause some sort of a reaction or exacerbation of symptoms. And at the same time, it's unclear to me from Ms. Stauch's report who she was dissociating into, or what exactly was occurring, how much of it was her or one of the personalities that she shares worlds with, as well as when events occurred, when she looked at the body to find out it was Gannon's body, given some inconsistencies.
I'm going to use the word you used, if this happened, if she's switching personalities and going through this associated state, would a family member notice that right away?
I would think so.
Harley noticed that right away.
I would think somebody would see something.
But her brother Dakota Lowry noticed that right away. He got it.
Potentially.
What about Al Stauch? When she picks him up at the airport hours later, would he notice something like that?
I would think so.
In fact, in the DSM-5, does it not state that family members would certainly notice something obviously strange with an individual who suffers from this identity disorder?
I would think eventually, if it was a severe presentation of dissociative identity disorder, we've talked about how sometimes it's subtle and it's not readily visible to other people when somebody's switching from one state to another. But that being said, family members might notice a loss of, family members might notice that person reporting a loss of time, or even seeming to forget things that happened in the day, potentially even forgetting who they are. It just depends on how the specific illness presents in that person.
She talked to you about not knowing how to shoot a gun. Do you remember her saying that to you?
Yes.
Was that consistent with what she told you earlier about how she took the gun away from Edgar and shot this intruder?
It is somewhat inconsistent, and at the same time, I could see somebody saying that they don't know how to shoot a gun, but still being able to carry out that act.
Is it common for people who own guns not to know how to shoot them?
I would hope that people who own guns know how to shoot them.
Do you remember saying that she memorized the autopsy was wrong, it was only one gunshot?
Yes.
You remember attributing the stab wounds to saying they weren't stab wounds, they were burn marks?
Yes.
What was your take on that, her inconsistency with what actually happened in the death of Gannon and Stauch?
Again, it was noted that her self-report of the events didn't line up with the police reports or the other evidence available.
And did she ever mention to you anything about blunt force trauma to the head that was in the autopsy?
No.
She goes into talking about whether or not she moved Gannon's body afterwards. Do you recall that?
Yes.
She said she didn't want to incriminate anyone, and so I'm not going to tell you a person's name. Do you remember saying something like that?
Yes.
Did you see any indication in the police reports or anything that you reviewed indicating that someone helped her move Gannon from A to B?
No.
Is it pretty readily noticeable in the police reports that Gannon's body was taken to the Palmer Lake area first,
Yes.
that his body was then picked up,
Yes.
and then later drove to Florida?
Correct.
And did she at any time explain how all that happened?
No.
In fact, Dr. Gray, I believe, the question that was asked with about 20 minutes left was, so you don't recall going to Florida, or words to that effect? Do you remember that question?
Yeah, he had asked how the body ended up in Florida, or we were trying to clarify her statements because she seemed to be suggesting that she was not involved in that.
And again, she indicated that she wanted Gannon to have a proper burial in South Carolina on his grandparents' farm. Do you remember saying that, her saying that?
Yes.
Is that inconsistent with not moving the body to the East Coast, I guess?
It would imply that at the time of the shooting, or around the time of the shooting, that she had some thought that the body should go to South Carolina. We know it didn't end up there.
But in your opinion, is that kind of inconsistent? One hand, she's saying I didn't have anything with moving the body. Second hand, she's saying I wanted to have a proper burial in South Carolina.
Again, I feel like both of those things could exist separately from one another. It's just interesting to me that she would have had the thought that the body needed to be moved, given the circumstances.
And do you recall her telling you and Dr. Gray that a male person, a family member, helped her move the body?
Yes.
And do you know who that family member was?
No.
Did she ever tell you who that family member was?
No.
Do you know who the only male family member who was here at that time was?
I think it might have been her brother.
And would that have been Dakota Lowry?
Yes.
We just have a second now. At some point, she says, I know I was in a form of psychosis, hallucinations, versus.
Yes.
Is that common for someone to say those words if they are truly, in fact, experiencing a psychotic event?
Only if they have good enough insight after the fact to be able to relay that information.
She said that she read certain books cover to cover. Do you remember saying things like that?
Yes.
In specific, when she was talking about, I didn't know right from wrong, I read a book cover to cover. Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
Did it lead you and Dr. Gray to the understanding that maybe she did some research prior to coming in and giving you this statement?
The verbiage that she used during the interview suggested that.
And when she said that, is that when she said, I'm telling you the 100% of the truth? It was on January 28th, not January 27th.
Yes.
She showed emotion, what appeared to be emotion during the video. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Did that happen when she would talk about what others were saying about her?
Yes.
Did she show any emotion when she talked about bringing Gannon up the stairs and his last breath that she talked about?
Not in the same way.
Does that contribute to your initial diagnosis of, correct me because I'm going to wing this, is it borderline narcissism?
Yes, a personality disorder.
Is that the narcissism you're talking about where she cares about herself?
I think it can be expressed in that manner.
She talked to you about CJC, which is the jail, right?
Yes.
Not being real. Do you remember her saying those words?
I don't remember that so clearly.
We won't ask questions about it. Well, I won't ask questions about it. Towards the end of the interview, she says, females who kill people are psychopaths. They poison people. Remember her saying that?
Yes.
Do you recall from the autopsy whether or not Gannon had quite a bit of hydrocodone in his system when he died?
I remember reading that somewhere.
Now, she comes back on June 29th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
Was that date already in plan, or how did that date come about as for her coming back for you and Dr. Gray to interview her?
That was the soonest that we could set the interview, given some vacation time, but also we were waiting for some documents, I believe, from Mr. Tolini as it related to possibly interviews with family members. We were waiting for something else in addition.
And so up until this point, had you made an opinion with regard to Ms. Stauch's sanity?
Not yet.
You're still gathering information?
Yes.
Okay. So at this point, I'm going to play a portion. Let me see how much time we have, Your Honor. Do you want to start it now, or do you want to wait? And
Counsel approach for a minute.
yes. We're going to go ahead and start the video, and then we're going to take a lunch break. So if you want to have a seat in the back, you can do that. And so for the record, Your Honor, this is going to be People's Exhibit 728. We're going to start it at 57 minutes and 33 seconds. And we'll stop it when I see you look at me and tell me to stop it.
Around dark, Charlie comes home. We're supposed to get it or whatever. And at some point, we were going to go eat sushi. That's when we started. But then, maybe 5 to 6 p.m. or whatever. So then we started looking for Gannon. Went to text Albert. I don't have any of the contact numbers of anybody. Right. So we come out, which was not too. I thought once I lost track of time, but I was just confused because he's doing the 5-day challenge. We would pull out hiding by dark because we were like the end. He just wasn't there, so I was just so confused. Like, I know him well enough to know he was going to be dinner, so that's why I didn't get worried. So when it got really, really dark, because at that point in time, I'm like, hold on, but then it was raining outside. We wasn't sure why maybe didn't walk home, so we tried to go find it. But that's when we called the police. The police showed up, which was an hour late, but they know I never left the house. So the cops came out, we did interviews, because I couldn't figure out where this hiding spot was at. Because we did this, whenever all the YouTube challenge rules, we went over, like, don't do this, don't do that, don't hide in certain spots that you can't breathe, don't, you put yourself in a bind. And the kids have their own YouTube channel, so they did this, and they looked at them on the street. It almost felt like this wasn't really going on, because I'm like, how in the world did you hide? And the cops have came in here, they're looking for you, they're looking through the house, they went in the car, they were like, these go in the car. I gave them permission to guard the house. So if anything out of order, they walked in every room, if anything out of order, thank you. I said nothing happened, anything out of order. So that's when I just started being like, okay, where's this hiding spot? I thought at the time maybe it was just like at a friend's house. And like I know that guy can have people going to that Judy kid's house or whatever. So it gets dark and we're all just sitting there like trying to figure out what's going on. I was it wasn't like if this would have been Lena, like who went to Precious house, those are strangers or whatever, then it would have been like it wouldn't have shocked me. But it being Gannon when the stranger's house, like was very shocking too. So I couldn't really figure out why. So please come back out to check on me because that's when I started panicking. Over it, and the police back to check on me. That was late night, like lit. Please come back to check on me, and I'm just in a panic at that point in time. And he's like, well, we're gonna put people all around the house. There was a like, and this had been going on hours of searching out. We're all upstairs because I told Harley and Lena to sleep upstairs with me because I didn't want them downstairs. I wanted in my stuff there. But I remember going on the sofa. I don't know how long it was I was sitting on the sofa. I kept hearing knocking sound. Well, if you ask for like the one footage of where my car just goes out the driveway and comes back in or whatever, that would have been around the time of the knocking sound when what we did together. That's kind of time for me to get it. So I heard the knocking sounds and I kept trying to figure out was there someone at the door because I thought they were trying to, if I had walked out to the garage to leave at some point, but then if they'd been knocking on my door or my window, who would have known that was our bedroom window? Like, why were they trying to get them to go by? I just kept going up and down the stairs, going in the room checking. One of the times I fell down the stairs, that's how my blood got on the stairs because I was like hit my head with socks on running downstairs or whatever. That's how my blood got on the stairs or whatever. I kept hearing knocking, I kept going and searching, I kept asking girls if they hear that. Then Ty's dad came by. We're still coming during that during the late night or whatever. At some point I remember laying back on the sofa and was kind of like dating out for a while because honestly, I thought this was all just like some nightmare I was talking. But then there's noise. I run down the stairs. I don't know exactly how. So my handgun was inside a car. I was already like earlier, like, is this your handgun? Yes, I told him, no, be careful. There's a handgun in the car, like all that stuff. So I don't know if he had the opposition. I had opposition with him. I don't know, at some point, somehow, I saw come across the vision down the stairs, like some shadow. In a shadow running across, I ran back up the stairs, started freaking out, and then came down the stairs. There's a shadow, there's some moving object, body moving in the house or whatever. Then I didn't hear anything. I heard a loud noise when I was back upstairs. If you seen the views of the house, there was top floor, bottom floor. So I was going up and down trying to figure out, where these noises were coming from. So I heard the loud noise upstairs. And his room was my room. So when I was in my room, I heard nothing again. At some point in time, either I grabbed it from Edgar or it looked like someone in a cave. I said that I used to wear these, like, are you familiar, if you're familiar with, like, the Native American culture, there were these, like, regalia things. He had this whole red and black thing. Dad's shirt to his mom. And it was like someone in red and black. I don't even know how quickly it happened. I just kept hearing the Ecclesiastes 3:3 in my head. Ecclesiastes 3:3, Ecclesiastes 3:3. I'm still, like, because obviously my stepdad, when he died, he got carried 600, and as soon as he went apart, he got his died. That sounds around the road. I'm sure it was fast. But that was just what I kept saying in my head, thinking fast. Ecclesiastes 3:3. I don't know how long had transpired after that, but when I came back through, Lena was freaking out. She was standing there. I don't know what I said to her, but then she tried to help me take Anna upstairs, take her to the hospital. If you look at Mimi's report, you'll see she talked about trying to help carry Anna. We just had her days all running together because it was very traumatic for her too. But when I tried to take Anna to the hospital, to the car, and it was outside, I don't know how long I was sitting in my car. I just was in the like I was in and out. One minute I could see myself on the passenger side, next minute I couldn't barely driving the car. And I didn't see palm trees when we tried to pull out. And that's why I think I must have thought I was in Carolina, because there's palm trees going to the hospital. If you've ever seen a picture of like how like Rodeo Drive goes down with palm trees, that's how it looks in Carolina. Then you go down to the beach. There's Grand Strand Hospital there, which I've been to many a times. That's Grand Strand. Then on, I think I was completed or something because I was trying to like get a better life. Because if you think about it, like There's a lot in the Bible where Jesus was able to Jairus' daughter bring them up. Many situations where he gave his disciples the ability to bring people back. I know at some point in time during that, Maria felt a threat. What she does, child molester, someone who hurts children, someone who rapes women, not to mention what was going on in the garage. That's the way she protects them. Eliminate a threat. But one, me and Lena are sitting there trying to go to the hospital one day. I'm realizing, like, what is going on? Phone kicked in. I tried to get them through. People went out to GameStop. They tried to get the footage from GameStop. I don't know if they got it or not, but they was trying to get in the game. I already told him he was going to get it for $60. Edgar was with me during that time, but I don't know where he went during that time. Well, going back through and I was sitting in the car again, passenger side. I go back in the house, and everybody's just like, Lena's like white, like a ghost, like she's in a ghost. And telling everybody he's gonna be okay, he's gonna be fine, and they're just any questions like, where is Gannon at? He's gonna be fine. Find him. Because I didn't. What had happened during that traumatic experience, I wasn't looking. You gotta imagine if you were just somewhere and all of a sudden you're trying to bring somebody back to life and then now you don't know where he's at and you're telling everybody we'll be okay. Because then it's all a gap. A little bit of coherency, a gap. As you can see, if you look at the evidence from then on, it just spiraled. Some people lost kids. What was going on? I was trying to piece together what had really happened. Yeah. At some point, I know it was Maria telling them about Mike was dead. What she would have done, eliminated someone through remorse. So the stories that are on the evidence are all over the place because I really didn't know how to put it together in pieces. My memories here and how much was there, and then visions here, visions there. 1 minute I was in Carolina, 1 minute I wasn't. And I thought it was just a nightmare I was going to wake up from. I thought there was going to be cameras just pop out. Like, one horrible joke. And like word salads. Talking about this, that. Going to Disney World and like, so I have no idea I even done that. I have no idea what I was talking about. Like, the evidence somewhere it has searched on my phone. I think it was February or January or something. 2020. What to do when we shot, we went in shock. Like, I don't even remember even putting any of that stuff in any of the searches, but it was all of the things that had happened over my life, just all over this one, without even now doing this.
And I stopped it at 113.41 just because I thought that might be a good spot.
Okay, all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will take our lunch break. If I can have everyone back in the jury room a little bit before 1:30, we should be able to start on time at that point. Again, don't discuss the case among yourselves. Don't discuss the case with anyone else. Don't do your own independent research about any aspect of the case. If you go out for lunch, try not to get blown away by our Colorado breeze. And we will see you back at 1:30. All rise for the jury, please. Thank you. You may all be seated. I wanted to make a record about a couple of things. Two. Oh, nope, I guess not. I already made the notes. Exhibit 728, 727 and Exhibit 728 have been officially admitted. When my court reporter came in this morning, she gave me an extra sheet because mine ended at 726. So I was adding some things in.
That was the sheet that came from us, Judge, just so that you were tracking with that. Yeah.
Okay. And we have not yet gotten to 729 through 734, but it looks like those are Dr. Lewis's, so we'll deal with that on Monday. So I'm okay there. I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page regarding exhibits. And then I wanted to talk briefly about something that occurred. I don't remember what time it was. It was about an hour ago. It was when Mr. Young had asked to approach the bench. This was after Ms. Stauch had responded no quite loudly in response to a question that was asked of Dr. Torres. Ms. Stauch, it's been a long trial.
I'm sorry.
And
Uh-oh.
Okay. Well, let's make sure we're all on the same page. It's been a long trial. I know it wears on everybody. And I know that it has to wear on you especially.
Oh, is she crying now?
I also know that you're not feeling well today. So I do know that too. But remember what I told you a couple of weeks ago about the conduct I expect in my courtroom. You can't just blurt out comments or express your disagreement with someone. I've already given you an advisement of your right to testify. You do have a right to testify. And when it comes time, you can testify if you want to, and you can tell the jury what you want to tell them. But you can't do that while you're at counsel table. You just can't start talking from counsel table. You can't express disagreement with anything that is being said by a witness, or even agreement with anything that's said by a witness. So just be careful going forward, because again, I could have you removed. That's not in your best interest. It's not in your lawyer's best interest, but it can occur. So just remember that, and I'll leave it at that. Is there anything else that we need to take up at this point in time? Prosecution?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Defense? Okay. All right, court will be in recess then. Thank you.
Wow. Oh, she don't feel good, guys. Oh my God. All right, I gotta go. So second half, go to Divvy's channel. I had some things coming up when I was on this morning. Okay, thank you, everybody.